Hello and welcome to episode 59 of the DX Mentor, the Tango India 1 Romeo Romy Charlie DXPedition to Central America. Thank you for being with us. I'm Bill, AJ8B. If this is the first time you're joining us, welcome. We have a back catalog of over 50 episodes covering many aspects of DX in both podcast and YouTube format. Please check us out. If you're new to DXing, I would really recommend episode 1 as it was recorded with several world-class DXers. You will get a feel of the excitement that goes with chasing DX. And please, if you like what you find, please subscribe, like, and share. Another way to keep in touch and to see what we're up to is via the DX Mentor Facebook page. I will be posting about upcoming podcasts as well as other DX events, so please check it out. Our guests today are Hal, W88C, Yuri, N3QQ, and Raisa, R1BIG. As always, Joe, W8GEX, an accomplished DXer in his own right, will also be with us. Here's a brief description of this DXPedition. A Russian Robinson team consisting of Alex, RW3RN, Hal, W8HC, Mike, K5MSK, Slava, OK8 Alpha Uniform, Raisa, R1BIG, Tim, NL8F, Vlad, R9LR, and Yuri, N3QQ will be active from Central America DXCC's entities covering IOTA and POTA during February 11th to March 7th. They will be visiting in the following order. February 11th to the 16th, YN6RRC, and that is the San Cristóbal Island, Nicaragua, which is POTA NI 0055. At the same time, they will also be on Isla de Cardon in Nicaragua, which is February 11th to the 16th, and that call is Hotel 7 Radio Charlie. From February 19th to the 25th, they will be on Isla Cano, which is North America 117, and POTA CR0018, Costa Rica. And that call will be TI1RRC. And finally, from February 26th to March 3rd, they'll be on Chirique Island, POTA, PA0033 in Panama, and that call will be 3 Fox 3 Romeo Charlie. All calls are currently pending. However, they do expect them quickly. Please QSO all of these via Logbook of the World or via M0OXO. Without any further delay, let's hear from the representatives of this team. Well, hello and welcome to the latest edition of the DX Mentor. I'm Bill, AJ8B, and I am so excited. We have a group of folks on here who are going to be doing a Central American DXPedition. I can't wait for you to get the news out. I can't wait to hear their story, and I can't wait for you to support them. Because that's how this whole thing works best. So without any further ado, I'm going to have them introduce a couple of them. And for starters, of course, as always, Joe, W8GEX. Joe, how you doing? How'd you get into this thing?
Well, thanks, Bill, and good morning to everyone. I got into it when I was a teenager. My uncle was an SWL, and he got me started as an SWL and passed my technician, and then got hooked on 6 meters DXing into the Caribbean. And then I took all the other tests and got up to the extra and just been a DXer and a DXpeditioner for 55 years now.
And you've been on a few DXpeditions, right?
I have, and I've been on some with my buddy Hal here. So yes, very good.
All right, let's hear what Hal has to say. W88C, Hal.
Yeah, I'm Hal, W8HC in West Virginia. And again, it's a pleasure to be here with you, Bill, and Joe, and the other two of the other members of our team. Like Joe, I started out very young. I was 15 when I was first licensed, and I had a friend, a high school classmate, that he and I got our novice licenses about the same time. And over the years, I continued to enjoy working DX and found myself being DX, due in large part to Joe, W8GEX, who I met in Friedrichshafen in, I think, 2012, I guess it was, and was talking to Joe, and he said something about the Swains Island NH8S DXPedition. And, I told him about some of my trips to Europe and the Holy Land and doing kind of my own little DXpeditions. And he said, would you be interested in a major DXPedition? I said, yeah, if the opportunity presented itself. And so 2 weeks later, he's contacting me saying, I've got an opening for Swains Island. How serious were you about wanting to go on a DXPedition? So that was kind of launched my official DXPedition career. But, over the years, I've chased DX and, eventually worked my way up to the top of the honor roll. And now I enjoy going on trips like this with other members of the DX community and seeing the sites and meeting people and just having a great time on DXPeditions, either IOTA DXPeditions, POTA DXPeditions, or rare DXPeditions. If I'm able to go, I want to go.
So now you can see why I carefully answer Joe when he asks me questions. I might find myself on Midway someday, And we also have Yuri, N3 Quebec. Yuri, tell us about yourself.
Good morning, good afternoon, Bill and Joe. Thank you for inviting to the show. I started my ham radio journey in my teens as well. I did notice the big quad antenna on one of the buildings, traced the coax lines where they go in. This was my first mentor who was building some radios, and also he introduced me to the ham radio itself, where he was working NA stations during the mornings. So anyways, then long story short, when I got to US, first of all, I got a call sign, then family, kids, work, not much place to operate really from my normal location in the city or suburbs with small lots, and I decided, well, let's do some expeditions. I like to travel to different places and difficult places as well. And we've done quite a few expeditions since 2008 until 2024, like 16 years, give or take, at least once a year, sometimes twice. And just like to build a team, work on it for a long time, and see the success of the expedition when everybody gets together and having fun.
Wow, terrific. And finally, we have Raisa, R1BIG, correct?
Correct.
Tell us about yourself.
My journey started just 6.5 years ago. In ham radio, but before I became ham radio operator, I did and I still do ARDF, amateur radio direction finding. It is active part of our hobby. I like it very much. It is good in Russia. Not many people, but maybe a little bit more than in other countries are interested in ARDF, and it is really nice part of our hobby. So then I started I got my first license. It was in 2018. After this, it was third category here in Russian, and then I passed the exam, and now I have the second category here in Russia. So it will be my first DXPedition, and I'm very exciting. I had some of them not far from my house, but such a big and real DXPedition, I can say it will be my first one. And you know that when you do something at the first time, it's so many emotions, because you don't know the country, you don't know the road, because only one of my flight will be 14 hours. Yeah, it's something crazy, but it will be firstly first flight from St. Petersburg to Moscow, then from Moscow to Cuba. It's the longest way, which is 14 hours. Then from Cuba to Panama, and from Panama to Costa Rica. It's a really long way. Yeah. So yeah, but I hope that everything will be okay.
So it's like working DX long path, it sounds like, right? So,
yeah.
So Yuri, I was doing a little homework, and I've always been curious about and I want to read it so I got it right. The Russian Crusoe, is that what it is? The Russian
Robinson Club.
Robinson team, yeah. And I noticed your call was prominently at the top of that website. So Can you tell me about the Russian Robinson team?
Well, it's an organization which is originated in Russia about 31 years ago. We have about 1,000 members worldwide. It's
Huh?
somewhat exclusive club, not inclusive, pardon me, but it's exclusive that you have to make an expedition to the island or live on the island. Then you can become a member. The fee is not expensive, like $20 once, lifetime. And the goal of the members is to make an expeditions as well as work stations from the expeditions. So that's and we have about 1,000 members, give or take.
So they have to, but they have to have been on a DXPedition.
Either live on the island or
Right.
operate from the island, either or.
Very cool. Very cool.
Oh.
So tell us about the team, and anybody, I don't know how, or anybody can just, because this isn't all the team members, but I will tell you, going down the list, it's somewhat a who's who of folks that have been on DXPeditions and been operating. So I don't know that Raisa has a better group to learn from. So what about the team overall? Anybody?
Okay, I will give the mic over to Hall. He will take on himself as well as our gentleman from Alaska, and then we'll pass mic over to Raisa. It's about her and Mike, and then I will talk about the rest of our group.
Okay, Hal.
Hal, go ahead.
Yeah, there are two team members that I have had prior experience, the expedition experience with, and that's, of course, Yuri, and then Tim, NL8F, November Lima 8 Fox, who is a prolific operator from Dutch Harbor, Alaska. And, here a few years ago, we tried to get out to Kiska, which is out almost at the end of the Aleutians. And it took us 2 tries to get, actually, I think it took 3 tries. Yuri had tried in I think in 2020, and I think the COVID stuff shut us down. But anyway, we tried again, ended up operating from ADAC, and Tim, with his connection to the shipping industry, the fishing industry out in the Aleutians and in the Bering Sea there, he was a major resource to us. And I'm looking forward to operating with Big Tim again. I call him the wizard. He has a way of making things happen. But we had a great expedition when we did get to K7K to Kiska in I guess that would have been in 2022. Is that right? I've got my year. Everything runs together now with Tim and had Yuri and Adrian, KO8SCA, obviously. And that was prior to Adrian going on the 3Y0J DXPedition. So it was a good warm up for him. And James, who James, I think, is a reserve KB2 FMH. He's kind of on the reserve list for us. But anyway, I'm looking forward to being with Yuri again. And then also we did do the DXPedition out there in American Samoa 2 years ago, and with Yuri. But anyway, we got some new folks on there, and of course, one of them for me is Raisa. So I'll turn it over to Raisa, and you can talk about your connections to some of these other folks.
Okay, so I told you something about me, about my activities. I just would like to add that now I try to be on the air in every place, in every country where I am. For example, this year I visited my home country. It is Uzbekistan. I was born in Uzbekistan, and I was very happy to be on the air there. After that, I traveled to Czech Republic. There was Oscar Lima 88 Yankee Lima. It is young ladies group, which active also during the week. It's a wonderful event, which is organized by my good friend Eva, HB9 FPM. And during my way to Czech Republic, I also visited for United One Alpha Station. It is in Vienna, Vienna, Austria, and also was on the air. So it's my, I try to find any ways to go on the air in different countries, different cities where I am. About Michael K5 MSK, he is a good friend of mine, and we knew each other for a long time, and 2 years ago we met each other in person. It was in Finland, in Oscar Hotel 73 Echo Lima Kilo station, so when we have the opportunity to invite a new person to our DXPedition, it was my proposal to ask if Michael can join us to the group, and to Michael ask if he can join us, and I'm very glad that he will be with us. He also isn't very experienced in the expeditions as me, but he's very good to know everything about the radio, about technical parts, about some computer things. He's very good in these things. So I hope that we will be helpful to the team instead of the fact that we are the first time in the DXPedition.
Sure. Yeah, I bet. Yuri?
All right, Bill. The rest of the members are, I will go over Slava Olkawosim AU. He is in Czech Republic, and he is member of our DXT team. You maybe heard a lot of their expedition in Africa. They've done quite a bit of those. Also, Vlad RW3RN. He's our satellite guy as well as super technical person. We've been with him in Cuba, and he just can fix anything pretty much. So, and last but not least is Alex RW3RN. I don't know if I can use it on the air. It's Iron Butt. So basically he can operate 24/7. He needs no water, no food. He just get him the radio going and he will sit there. So if you need to cut it out, you're welcome to. But this is description of Alex.
Well, if that's accurate, then we'll stay with it.
Yeah, it's accurate description.
Wow.
I don't think he will scream about it.
Yeah. So how I thought I talked to you a couple years ago, and you were on your way back from Alaska from that trip, and that was a pretty brutal trip, if I remember, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was. And I'm going to assume it was the Kiska trip. We were very fortunate to have one of the top boat captains. Tim was able to secure a vessel. It's the April Lonnie, and it's a fishing vessel. But the captain of that vessel, if you've ever watched the show The Deadliest Catch, he was one of the featured boat captains, I think, in season 4 and season 5. So he knew the Bering Sea. He knew the islands all the way out through there because of his fishing. You know, he's been a fisherman for years and years and years, a crabber, and so yeah, it was very rough. The weather was rough on the island. We lost a tent, and a lot of really high winds. And I had some concerns about us getting off the island, and we had some issues with our little Zodiac, the motor on it. Unfortunately, Tim was able to get us off the island. We got everything off the island just in time before the weather did get bad. But yeah, it was a great experience. It's probably one of the most difficult DXPeditions that I've been on, because it's an unoccupied island, Kiska, and the neat thing about that island is the historical significance of it, and we learned quite a lot. Alex, KL5, yeah, I forget what's his suffix.
KL5CX.
Yeah, Kilo Lima 5 Charlie X-ray. He's a pilot for Delta Airlines. He was on this, and as far as I know, that was his first DXPedition. But he was like a squirrel. He was all over that island, and he took hundreds of photos of all the remnants from the Japanese when they held that island. And fortunately, he was able to do that and allow us then to see some of the photos, some of the places on that island. It's a national park. It's a World War II heritage site, and it has great significance in terms of being the from its place and what it did, what happened there during World War II. So I won't get into the history of that, but I will say this. Rob N7QT had originally contacted me about going on this IOTA expedition, which the previous year, where we didn't get the Kiska, but we ended up operating from ADAC. And I told Rob, I said, well, I don't have any desire to go on an IOTA. I go on DXPeditions. I go to rare places. He said, before you say no, he says, look up about Kiska Island. He says, read about it. He says, you like history, just read about it. So I got home and I did. I said, daggone, this place is cool. I want to go there. And so I'm just really glad that we were able to finally get out to Kiska, and it's an experience that few people would ever have, get to spend a week on that island, camping, and we're the only ones on the island.
So I brought that up for a reason, because one of the things that Joe and I try to get out through this podcast, I have not been on a DXPedition, but I've known so many of you that have, and I've talked to you all the time, and it's really not going sitting up at the beach having drinks and working QSOs, So I'm in the basement and I can't get you on 30 and I'm slamming my fist, but then I get you on 40, so I go upstairs and think it's done. And you guys still have to survive the weather, survive what's going on around you, the politics. Then you got to get down, you got to tear everything down, you got to get, so it's not a trivial endeavor. So every time I know of a story like that, Joe's talked about the heat that he had to experience. And one thing he brought up one time that never occurred to me is that, they're in this upper 90s with humidity in the upper 80s, and you go get water to hydrate yourself, but the water's 90 degrees, right? Because bottled water, you're not refrigerating it. I mean, and I guess I'm very naive. Never occurred to me. I thought, well, they got water, they should be able to hydrate. Yeah, it doesn't work like that. So I remembered that being a particularly challenging DXPedition. So what about the upcoming DXPedition? I know for sure we're going to a couple spots in Costa Rica. So I've read about maybe Nicaragua, maybe Panama. So what can we talk? Let's start with Costa Rica. I think there's 2 locations, if I recall. Is that correct, Yuri?
Yes, Bill. Well, speaking of the island expeditions, I think the easy part is to get on the island, and the hard part to get off from the island.
Okay.
It's always a challenge everywhere. I mean, it's what we're preparing for always. Speaking of our Central American tour, we'll start around February 11th. We'll have a smaller team, which will go over first to Costa Rica. We'll bring some more equipment. We'll leave it at the hotel. Then we'll take a rental car and drive over to Managua, Nicaragua. Then we're still waiting on our official license in Nicaragua. And we have a backup plan for it. I can't disclose it yet, but we do have a backup plan, but we'll hope for official channels to work through, and hopefully we'll get H7RRC for the island, El Cardon, as well as Y6RRC for a park. If not, maybe backup will work. If not, then we'll just be as a tourist in Nicaragua, and we'll come back to Costa Rica around the arrival time of our bigger team. Then our plan is to get some supplies, generators in San Jose, its capital, and drive down via transfer. We've already arranged that from San Jose over to the place which is next to the island. I would say relatively close to the island. It's south, 5.5 hours one way. Planned operation is from Cano Island as well as from the park at the same time. And the first day, we probably will collect all team, go to the island, help set up equipment, antennas. We'll make sure everything works. Our live stream is working. Then 4 people will stay on the island. It's limitation of sleeping spaces, as well as whatever their rangers idea. And 4 people will operate from the land. After about a week-long adventure there, our next plan is go down to Panama. Thanks God and their FCC equivalent, we already got Panama call sign. It's confirmed. It's 3F3RRC. We plan to operate from the park. So we are members now of the Panamanian DX group. Welcome to the club. They even know our blood type, not just our names, passport numbers. They asked for quite a lot of personal information. Anyways, that's our plan. And after we're done in Panama, the other guys and gals will have some free time to do some exploration around the Costa Rica or Panama. Just do some tourist thing to meet people, see places, and enjoy the culture.
Wow. It's going to be a whirlwind, but it'll be a lot of fun.
Hopefully, yes. That's what we're aiming for.
Yeah, and I will put in the show notes the different POTA and IOTA designations and stuff so people can track that. So, Raisa, which part of this are you most looking forward to? Where are you going to be operating?
So I hope to be on the air, not long time, but some of time on the island, of course. But mostly, I think I will be in the park, on the land, and in Panama too. So 3 different places for me will be nice opportunity.
Joe, did you have a question?
Well, I was going to ask Hal about the equipment. What equipment will you have? What about your antennas, Hal? Tell us what's going on. Your
muted,
mic
buddy.
is muted.
Yeah. For me personally, I'm taking a K3 station, K3S and a KPA 500. And Yuri is taking the Sun SDRs. There'll be SDR radios, and I think there may be another K3 in the mix. I'm not really sure. And we'll have vertical antennas, wire antennas, and of course I'll have a complete station, power supply, laptop, everything that I'll have to take with me down there. But we'll have, I think the plan is to have at least 2 stations on from each location, the park and the island. We could possibly put a 3rd station on, I'm sure, but it's going to depend on how things go. Yuri's kind of got all the details on the equipment and so forth. I just know what I'm responsible for.
Good boy.
Yeah.
Thank you, Hal. Yes, Joe, to your question, but what we did, we tasked Hal as well as team to bring complete stations, 2 complete stations. It will be our, I would say, main operation, but at least we know they have an amp, they have a radio, they have all the cables, power supplies, and everything. So it's 2 stations. We already have 3 stations in Costa Rica, which I brought sometime in May, and 2 more stations already in Nicaragua. So we'll have a lot of equipment, speaking of to operate with. And speaking of antennas, mostly it will be verticals. Actually, OK8AU Slava, he built a couple of VDAs, specifically for 15 and 12 meters, because they're smaller, as well as he built a 160-meter antenna. But the mast broke, because when he raised it up in Czechoslovakia recently, it was pretty cold. So the mast broke. We had to arrange some rental, quote unquote, locally in Costa Rica for 18 meters or 60 feet pole, spider pole. So we should be good on 160. He also built some beverages, one towards Europe, one towards Japan. That's the plan. So we'll try to concentrate on 160 from the land operation, not from the islands. It's no reason for IOTA to do any 160.
Yeah.
So are you taking all the equipment with you on the flights, or are you shipping it in advance?
I already took some in, and we'll take some more during this trip. So it's pretty, we didn't ship anything because you will end up with customs, and it could be forever, especially in those Central American places.
Yeah, sure.
So what about modes? What kind of modes do you think is it going to be, split equally, or what are you going to try?
We will try to put Raisa to work. She will do a lot of SSB.
All right.
And when she will let us operate the other radios, we will do CW and FT8.
Okay. And Joe, it does say 60 on their website, so they're going to try
60 meters.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I'm a 60-meter guy.
Yeah.
Excellent.
Yeah,
That's what we'll try as well. We looked up on Club Log where the red categories for the bands and modes,
Sure.
and looks like 60, 160 pretty much needed everywhere.
Yeah, yeah.
So what would be your expectations? Let's say we get together 2 months from now and I say, how was the whole Central American tour? And you would say, boy, it was just a great success. What are you going to base that on? The number of QSOs, the number of new ones, the fact that y'all got home safely, which is always important. Do you have like a number of QSOs, or you just want to do the best you can based on conditions?
Bill, yeah, get home safely. It's number one priority for everybody.
Sure.
So we have to be kind of careful and watch our steps, especially on the beaches, because just a little wrong step, especially if you're holding something and we're not super young. So it's kind of very easy to put you out of the team. But anyways, that's number one priority is safety. Number two, we want to make as many as possible unique contacts. We are not like a $200,000 budget expedition where they're aiming for 100K contacts. No, we plan to have a good time, give this island operation, park operation to somebody who needs it. We'll have a huge pile upgrade. If it will be slow, it's fine. We can find the time to go around and have some fun. So that's our plan. We don't have specific numbers.
Okay,
The
good.
QSOs wise, as long as we give people who need those contacts, make them happen.
And then, Raisa, when this is done, how long before you lead a DXPedition somewhere?
Sorry, could you repeat?
Yeah, so when you get back, it's been a great DXPedition and you're excited and you've learned a lot from these guys. How long until you lead a DXPedition somewhere?
Юр, последнее, how long, вот это последнее предложение я не могу понять.
Он говорит, если все получится хорошо, сколько нужно ждать для твоей следующей экспедиции?
Okay. So sorry, I asked
That's all right.
Yuri
Yeah.
to translate the last sentence. So I don't know. I am going to be very active and to show all our steps in my social media. And if everything will be fine, and I hope so, I'm sure that I will have wish to go to the other DXPedition again. But now it's really difficult to say. And the most thing which I should to say that it's very expensive.
Yeah.
So it's not so I want to go to the DXPedition and I do it. Yeah, it needs not only time, but also much money.
Well, you can tell from these three, once you make your first one, you can't wait to make the next one, right? So that'll be exciting. And what is your social media? If people wanted to follow you, how can they do that?
I have my YouTube channel, Facebook page, and Instagram page. And this page are only about ham radio. And summary, maybe I have... I did not check for a while, but maybe 400 subscribers for 40,000 subscribers in all medias, and all of these people are ham radio operators.
Wow.
And
Good
yeah,
for
I'm
you.
very glad. Thank you.
So how can people help? How can people support you? I think it's terrific that you're doing multiple countries. It seems very efficient from a financial standpoint, but you never have all the financial support you'd like. So how can those of us listening and watching help?
Bill, thank you. Yes, it's a concern. Even in Costa Rica, we don't have Alaska weather or Alaska prices. I think all knows what the Alaska prices are, but still, the last mile is most expensive as always, and we'll probably have some things we didn't plan for. Yeah, anything helps. They can go to QRZ page, QRZ.com for TI1RRC. They can make donation with a PayPal, whatever the budget is. For some people with bigger budgets, we have some special cards which will be signed by Raisa. For people with other budgets, whatever they can, will help us. Thank you so much.
Oh, sure. Yeah, I'll get that word out. And Raisa, as we wrap up, you've got to show off the costume that you designed.
Yeah.
I mean, that's terrific. And those of you that are on the podcast, you got to go over to the YouTube channel and check it out. That really is a great, it really is. That's terrific. So good
I've
for
been
you.
on a lot of DXPeditions, 62 to be exact, but I've never seen a shirt like that.
That
Thank
is
you.
terrific.
That was
Thank you.
very, very good.
Joe, did I forget anything?
No, sir, you went right down the list perfectly, like you always do, Bill.
Well, oh, shucks.
Hey, Bill.
Yeah, go ahead.
Let me just say one thing. And so, going back to my first major DXPedition with Joe, and I told him, and I don't know if he remembers this, and this will kind of go along with what you were asking Raisa, but I told Joe, I said, well, I'll try this and see if I like it. But I probably won't be able to do it again. Okay. So, maybe 12 or 15 DXPeditions later, here we are.
Yeah.
Now I'll do it once just to see if I like it.
Yeah.
Just to try.
Yeah, Raisa will be out once or twice a year, I guarantee.
Yeah, it's a good thing.
Yes.
I will be very happy. I like travel, and as I told, when I can during my trip to make radio, it makes me happier.
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah.
a
And
little
even if you go by yourself, I've done a lot of them by myself, part of this 62. But anyway, I just take a radio and an antenna and put it up and talk around the world. And I love every minute of it. Oh, yeah.
I'm a little disappointed that you didn't get like an 8-hour layover in Cuba so you could get on the air from there. But
Yeah.
so, Hal, anything else you want to add?
Nothing comes to mind, Bill.
Okay.
I appreciate the opportunity to be with you guys.
Oh,
and
you guys.
hope to see some of you at Dayton here in a couple months.
Yeah. Yuri, anything you'd like to add?
No, Bill, I'm just glad we got a good team and we'll execute it to the best of our ability. And we'll look forward for lots of fun during this expedition. We'll make a contacts, we'll see the culture. Yeah, just we'll enjoy the time.
Good for you. Raisa, anything you want to add as the last comment?
Thank you very much for this nice conversation. It was very nice to meet you, and I hope that it will be very interesting to your audience to listen or to watch this podcast. You do really great job. Thank you very much.
Oh, thank you all. It makes it easy when I got great people like you, so I appreciate it very much. I hope to see you on the air, getting the log, and I hope to see you at Dayton here in just a few months. Yeah. So if you get a chance, that may be a trip you got to plan for, Raisa, is to get over to Dayton to the DX dinner and be one of our guests over there. So
it is one of my dream one day to visit the USA because I have never been there, and I hope that someday it will be possible.
Okay, wonderful. Well, 7-3 to y'all. Safe travels, and I hope everything goes well, and I hope our folks support you. So we'll look forward to it.
Yeah. And
Thank you, Bill.
Have a great trip.
Thank you, Joe.
7-3.
See you guys.
73.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Well done. Thank you very much. Great stuff.
Excellent.
Thank you, Bill.
Yeah, that was
Appreciate
really good. And I hope the money pours in.
Appreciate it.
All right,
Thank
we'll
you.
see you. Thank you.
All right, y'all have a great day.
Yeah, thank you much.
Thank
Oh, and
you.
Hal, you got to send me a bio for the dinner.
I worked on it yesterday, so
Okay.
you'll get your 10,000 words here soon.
I told him, Joe, he's got to keep it under 10,000 words.
Yeah, Hal, just don't forget to add TI1RRC and 3F3RRC.
There you go. Okay.
Okay. All right, y'all be good.
All right, we'll see y'all.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right,
Okay,
bye-bye.
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 Thank you.
Bye-bye.
I hope you found that as interesting as I did. I'm really excited to work those guys. Thank you for joining us on this edition of the DX Mentor. I would like to thank our sponsors, ICOM America, the Daily DX, DX Engineering, and the Southwest Ohio DX Association. You won't find anyone more committed to DX than these sponsors. I would also like to thank our guests today, W8HC Hal, N3QQ Yuri, R1BIG Raisa, and Joe, W8GEX. And of course, I really want to thank you, the listener. Without you, there would be no point to this, so thank you. I would love to have your feedback, answer your questions, and provide help with any DX or amateur-related issues that you may have. If you need clarification on something or you just have a question, please email me at thedxmentor@gmail.com. Please drop me a line if you have achieved an all-time new one, receive recognition, or have a DX event that you would like us to mention. We would be happy to do that. And honestly, if you have a friend that has just worked an all-time new one or achieved something, send that to me and I'll recognize him. If you aren't the emailing type, check us out on Facebook and leave your comments there. That would be most appreciated. If you're enjoying these DX Mentor episodes, please hit the subscribe button. You can also click like if you found this one particularly interesting. And don't forget to check the show notes for all of the stuff we talked about. 7-3 for this episode, and thanks to my ex-Val Karen for her love and support. I hope to see you in the pile-ups.